All right, we're going to jump into our second crit session. Um, First up, we've got Krystina, who has an update for us. So let's just toggle between old and new. So I see, Krystina, you've brought down the exposure of the moonlight and given it some color, so a bluish um, tint, and that's a very very cinematic um, color for describing nighttime. So that's looking a lot better than the previous version. Um, in terms of the character and the lighting of the character, I feel like um, it'd be great if you could bring in that more of that blue in that rim light. And I see you've got a little bit of it there. But maybe um, I would try and maybe bring down the exposure. Um, so that you can get a little bit more of that blue. Um, Maybe give the tint on the light more saturation so that you're reading that. Um, and I see that the main key light source is this, uh, I guess, this bomb that's about to go off. So we can see that the face is being lit by that sort of warm light. I'm wondering whether, because I'm looking at the reference here, whether you could maybe give it a bit of a tint, like a warmish tint. It's looking quite neutral right now, and the the sparks and embers that are going off now are quite yellow. And yeah, I'm just wondering whether you could maybe bring some of that yellow into the face of the character. Again, this is I guess we'd call it like a low-key type of shot. So it's a low-key lighting. So you don't have many light sources. You usually have just the one or two illuminating the subject. So I think what's really good about um, these reference shots is that uh, there is quite a bit of fall off in the light as it hits the character there. You see that, this person's cheek here, there's the jawline's lit up, but as you go up, there's quite a bit of fall off. And same here. Um, this this light here fades off quite a bit as you go further up the face. I'm wondering whether you could do the same, try the same here. So something like that. I know it's kind of not the way you do it, but just to give you an idea, like if you have the intensity of the light, if you have it quite intense here and have it gradually fall off. I know the blur's not really describing it properly, but have it sort of fall off from maybe here to maybe when we get to the ears, it's quite dark, so you read the ears almost as a silhouette. You know, you could go down, um, like that overall. Um, so then you sort of feel that light source a lot more. Even going down, exposing down, you're already getting that fall off for free. So maybe it's just a matter of doing that. Um, and then yeah, maybe get some blue into that rim there. But otherwise, it's looking pretty good. Thanks, Krystina. Next up, we have Abishek, and we have an old and a new pass. And I can see, Abhishek, you've got a fog pass going in there that feathers off as we get closer to the as we get further away from the horizon. Sorry, and that feels a lot better than the previous one, which is comparatively quite flat. You feel that um, even with this change in the atmosphere in the back, um, you're already getting the characters seem to pop visually a lot more, and it's probably more like um, where you'd want the fog to sort of end up. Um, and apart from that, it's all looking pretty good. I can see that you've added some of that fog into the foreground characters as well, which helps to kind of sit them into the image a lot better. What else we have here? Yeah, overall it's looking really good. I think you're good to go. Cheers. Uh, Next up we have Raghavendra, and we have a before and after, old and new, and I think we have some reference shots here. So I feel like um, we're feeling the key lights, the rim key light, which is I guess more of a kicker. We're feeling that more in the newer version. You've brought down the overall sort of fill, and I feel like maybe you could bring it back a touch, because if you're using this as a reference, you'll notice that the even in the fill areas, there's still quite a bit of hair detail, and I feel like you're probably losing it with this new version. Could bring some of that back, um, in these areas here and here. Um, Obviously not to the extent of this, which is probably, I think for this character, this fill level's probably, maybe you could even go a bit higher here, but for her it's probably too much. Yeah, that could go down, but maybe not as much as here. Let's see. I'm thinking maybe like if you go halfway down, that seems to feel better to me. Um, and for this guy, you might need to add a special or I guess a cheat light. Um, something like it'd probably be like a warmish, sorry, not a warmish, a cool. Um, where's my little pen tool? Sorry about that. Let's see. Yeah, like maybe like a little special there onto the hair, just a hair light there. Um, and maybe this light on the mermaid, it feels like it's probably it's probably a little bit strong, and it feels motivated from from here. And you want to be trying to describe the main light coming from here, which is the horizon. So um, I would maybe get some more rim down here, and I can see that there's a little bit of, you probably have a little bit of bounce coming from this boat here. So perhaps some very soft diffuse um, light coming on this side. Sorry, I'll just clear that so you can see that more clearly. But so maybe like an area light here that's quite diffuse, very gentle, getting that side of her face instead of you know, the quite defined rim light here. Um, and the midtones look pretty good here. This looks pretty good. I mean, it's late in the day, so you're not getting that much fill. Um, so I can see why you're struggling to get the fill lights, on her for her hair. So you might have to, maybe contrive a cheat bounce light that comes up and gives you some of that fill, the same way that this guy's getting that cheat bounce light there to get his detail. Um, but otherwise, it's looking it's certainly looking a lot better than your previous version. Um, Definitely in the right direction. All right, looking good. And then next up we have Ruby. Ruby, I can see that you're using some nice reference images here, um, and trying to bring down the color palettes, and also trying to, I guess, emulate the look and feel of these shots. It feels like what you want to do is, just looking at this at least, is bring some color into the key. Let's make that kind of red. Yeah, so um, you've got that in the rim there. That's all really nice. Um, but I'm wondering whether you could add a bit of color. And it could just mean just warming up the lights and then um, adding an extra, maybe like a helper light here that's quite red, and mixing it in with that key light that you've got going down here, and so you get a little bit of red, you know, on this side, and then the top down can remain, that's a little bit more neutral. So I see the key light here. It can have a little bit of red, um, and you can supplement it with a sort of a kicker, not quite a kicker, but like a fill light from the side there that's quite red, and sort of, and then mixing it in. See what you do. You just do an add. Sorry, not that one. That one. Something like that. And um, I would go a little bit, um, you know, go a little bit more wholeheartedly into this red rim here. Um, and I would have it wash over the chair, and have it quite, a little bit brighter here, and have it wash a little bit on the table. Um, and then maybe you'd want to have just a slight hint of that yellow light, coming from these lamps. Coming from these lamps here, maybe a little bit of yellow light there. But I can see that in these references, the characters, they usually just mostly have a key, and then not so much of a rim here. You know, there's a sort of a kicker light here on her, but not so much of a rim. So maybe that's probably introducing too much into the main character. And I would probably uh, bring it down like that. You know, something like that. Um, you can see that, especially here, you can see that it's probably not a lot of difference between, you know, the fill side and the background fill. It's kind of like, again, it's low key lighting, so you're meant to just read just the key mainly. Maybe a hint of this, but you're reading mostly from the key. Um, so yeah, so maybe the fill needs to be whatever fills they're using. Maybe they could just come down a touch. And I would bring down the key as well in exposure too, because I feel like, you know, this guy here, there's not that much of a range between the I mean the intensity of the key is not um, so much more than the fills, with the exception of this guy's head. He does have a bald head, and it's probably the key's reading a little bit stronger on him, but on her at least, it's you know, the key on her is quite soft. Right, um, that's it. I think we're at, and Holly, if you're watching this, I'm just still waiting on um, just some clarifications about whether I should be reviewing that new version because it does look broken. All right. Thanks very much, guys. Looking forward to the next one. See ya.